Good evening, and a very warm welcome to the Scotchmore Whisky Society to the virtual members tasting. Welcome in the UK or wherever you are tuning in. My name is Olaf, and I'm the co-host this evening. I'm an ambassador for the Scotchmore Whisky Society, sitting here in Edinburgh. But I also believe there are some for Australian friends as well. We're gonna have that tasting. I don't think these are going to listen because it's 7 or 8 or 9 in the morning. So therefore, mind you, there is a rum saying: if you drink rum before 10 o'clock in the morning, that doesn't make you a drunkener; it makes you a pirate. But I don't know if that works for whiskey. So therefore, good day to the Australians whenever they're going to see it in the replay, and. Otherwise, it's about comparing and contrasting. It's summer solstice, winter solstice we're doing. So I think we got a good program together. But I'm not on my own. I'm here with Marcel, who's joining me from Germany, from near Hanover. Marcel, how are you doing?
Hello to everyone, and I'm fine. Thank you, Olaf. And it's not near Hanover; it's in Hanover.
Are you actually in Hanover?
I'm actually in the city. I'm a city guy. I'm really living in the center of the city, and yeah, I'm also very excited. And for those guys who are watching on the Facebook account, I'm following the Facebook comments I am seeing. So Whiskey Wizard, hello to this. Joff Door, hello to you. And everyone who is commenting on Facebook.
Good. I'm just introducing myself quickly. I've been a member since 1992 at the Scotchmore Whisky Society. I'm also been an ambassador for 20 years now, 18 years. I've been doing lots and lots of tastings up and down the country. But for me, a virtual members tasting is still a first. So here we go. That's the first one I'm ever going to do. So I am excited. A little bit worried as well, because usually I'm looking at people's faces, see their reactions and everything. But what we want is to be as lively as possible. So come in with your comments, with your views. Hopefully we can pick them up as well, Marcel and myself, and try to answer some of the questions. But basically, we want to have a good time. That's what it's all about. That's why we have the 5 whiskies. We have, you've got the pack. That's the lovely pack. We're going to start with the first one, which is the one from the distillery 26. Then we'll do the 2 pairs, 1 pair, and then the second pair, spicy and sweet pair, and the peaty pair. So we're comparing and contrasting, and it really is an interesting couple of whiskies we've got each time. And also, you may be wondering, why on earth are 2 Germans going to talk about Scotch whiskey from the Scotchmore Whisky Society here?
And why on earth are 2 Germans talking in English? But it's also... So, however, it could be there are some German guys are also watching this video. Hallo an jeden, der da draußen ist und auf Deutsch zuschaut. Ihr könnt auch eure Fragen auf Deutsch stellen. We will also answer in English.
Yes. No.
Hallo,
but actually,
I
can tell you one thing, because obviously we're still very much in lockdown here in Scotland. So I'll do my walk around the meadows, and I see in one window, I always see sort of a poster hanging, and it says as following: do you know that comedy and humor is furloughed because they found out that smiling and laughing is contagious? So therefore, we try and smile and laugh. Hopefully you're going to smile as well. Wendy, good to see you, Wendy. Lovely to see you. So we're trying to make it fun. And an American tourist once said to me when I did a tasting for him in the vaults, he said to me, Olaf, I don't care how good your English is as long as your Scotch is good. And I think our Scotch is good. And we want to start with the number 1. So the 26. Marcel, Are you ready?
I am ready as I could be. An Ottoman tent of delightful aromatics.
That's it.
What a title.
Unfortunately, not for me. Yeah, you pour it in.
I put it in. But I have also preparing the other ingredient, I think.
Should we? Yeah, we can do that.
Yes, yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, we can do that. Because
there's a pairing there's a pairing suggestion of you, I think.
Yeah,
So
the first one is the half and half. It's the half and half. Obviously, as a German, we're well known about schnapps and beer, but whiskey and beer is much better. So we've got a half, which is a beer, and we've got the whiskey here, which I actually never knew why it was called a half and half. But actually, it's a half of half a gill, which means 35 milliliters. Unfortunately, you only got 25 here, responsible drinking guidelines and all that, but I'm sure we'll make it happen. So here we go.
I'm just parallel preparing.
A lovely wheat beer from Germany, Erdinger from Munich, and let's start pouring.
I hope everyone could join this when you have an Erdinger at your homes.
It can also be Weihenstephan, it can be Paulaner, it can be Meisel, Weizen, Schneiderweisse, whatever you can get. There's quite a few in the UK these days. I've chosen Erdinger because it's a private company in family ownership since 1886, which just happened to be the day when Glenfiddich started as well, the year. So 1886, private ownership, that's the Erdinger. And Marcel, you're much better in pouring than me, so don't look at me now because it's going to be a bit of a mess, but we'll try.
The German one would say Prost.
Yeah.
But okay. So yeah, Erdinger. What could I tell about Erdinger? It's not the fact that I'm drinking Weissbier every day. So, but I'm a bigger craft beer fan. So there's also one which Olaf might be introduced, but let's focus on the Erdinger Weissbier, on the wheat beer.
Yeah.
You did a better job than I did, I think. When
No, I cheated.
At the edge.
I cheated. I got something left.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I like that. So, so cheers to all of you. And
cheers, guys. Let's have a good time. Augustina, okay. Augustina is also okay, Sandy.
Yes, very good one. Very good one.
Innocent Gun with 6 Isles blended. Oh, tasty ideas. Tasty
Sounds
ideas.
Good. Sounds good. No.
Waiting for the whiskey. Okay, we are hurry up. We are hurry up,
yeah, Peter. Peter, you don't know me, probably. But when I do tastings, like I've done lots of tastings in Inverness, Aberdeen, and I always speak a lot. And then they say, Olaf, and then I say, let's go to the second, or let's try the first whiskey again. And by that time they say, it's long finished, Olaf, we're on the second whiskey. So we'll get to the whiskey, I'll promise you. I'll just tell you one little story. When my then fiancée, now wife, who is English, came to Germany and met me, what happened was she looked into my cupboard and saw these here. And she said, they are beautiful vases. And I said, if you ever put flowers into there, that's going to be the end of our marriage. So it never happened. So I'll enjoy that. Right. On to the whiskey.
Yeah, on to the whiskey. One moment. I have to pull this down.
Lovely color.
Let's introduce the first whiskey of the day.
Sweet, fruity, and
mellow.
Just like me, you know. So
what about the color?
Lovely color. 26 distillery. So it's right up at the top. If you could see my T-shirt, which is Scotland and all the distilleries, we are almost up at the northern tip of Scotland. Almost, not quite. 26, 141, the 140 first cask, first fill barrel, bourbon barrel, ex-bourbon, 7 years old, and 62.4%. I always have to laugh when I see the word mellow and 62.4%. But actually nosing it, it is surprisingly mellow, I find.
Oh.
Very little prickle.
It's very sweet. It's typical for the one for these ones of the 26, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Looking for wolves on the logo when you're when you're guessing about the distillery. But yeah.
Quite floral, quite sweet. A little bit of citrus as well.
We have to do some translation games when I'm missing the words in from German to English. So I'm more native English than you, native German. Sorry, Olaf. What's the word for Zuckerwatte?
Zuckerwatte is oh gosh, I should know that. Comes to me.
It's like spinning sugar, something like that. Yeah. I'm describing it. It's spinning sugar. You have something on little little pieces when you go to whatever carousel or something like that.
Tristan, the shirt is actually from a good friend of mine who lives down in Campbelltown, and she does those sort of shirts. I can't remember now the name of the company, but she does them down in Campbelltown. So I can come back to you on that. But she does all these different T-shirts. Candy floss, that's the word.
Candy floss. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So thanks for the publicum. Thanks for the people who are watching. You can also help me. I'm just a handicapped German with English missings.
So I think really surprising, charming. As I say, if you don't look at the tasting notes, usually don't actually look even at the age. Don't look at the distillery name anyway. Forget that. But also the strength, because just try it and see what you think of it. And I think we'll give it a little sip and see what.
Cheers. It's absolutely not the case that you are feeling 62.4% on the tongue.
No, but it's certainly
soft,
more
very soft.
Congratulations.
Oh.
I celebrated my 32nd wedding anniversary last week, so best to you, Kirsten.
Hope you don't mess it up.
No, but it certainly is more of a wake-up call, I think. I mean, it's not as mild as the nose was implying for me. I always like these whiskies because in tastings, that means now you're ready. You know, now that's your taste buds are woken up, and we can get on with it. Certainly, I get a lot of sort of foamy bananas, still some sweetness, actual real bananas as well, so not just the sweetie bananas. And I think that banana flavor, that led me to the wheat beer, because that's a typical flavor you find in wheat beers. That's the yeast they're using to get those banana flavors. Banana, cloves as well, sort of slightly spicy.
I'm just doing vertical smelling.
Yes, vertical smelling. From two family companies, 18, no, not quite. So, should we add a drop of water? Yeah, let's add a drop of water. I mean, you can do whatever you want with water. If you enjoy it neat, drink it neat. If you want to add some water, add some water. And ignore everyone else. Well, probably you sit on your own anyway this time, but very often in groups, people say, oh, it's too much, it's too little. It's up to you. You can enjoy it the way you want to enjoy it. So I've got here the little jug. I'm just adding a few drops.
Yeah, that's the German part of me. Okay.
Yeah, you see, I've got this as well. But the problem for me is people who know me, this looks to me like a chemical experiment, you know, sort of with a pipette trying to do it. So what I usually do is I'll add some water. The thing is, unfortunately, you can't do that now. If you add too much water, you can always put more whiskey on top, you know, sort of to make.
I also have to interrupt this show because I have to send some greetings out to a colleague in Germany, brand ambassador in Cologne. His name is Craig 5. Craig 5 today, or his wife, had a baby this day, and congratulations to Craig 5 in Cologne. So this the first dram is on you, my friend.
Yes, yeah. He probably needs a lot more whiskey now, sleepless nights and a lot. I mean, sort of. So, is it the first one? You know, is it the first baby?
No, I think it's not the first. No,
right, okay.
There's also a daughter, I think.
Right. Yeah. So when you add a drop of water, I think it's opening up very nicely. Orange, apple, lemon, still the banana, the fruitiness coming through for me. This is that, I think very often actually, the flavor profile as well, it's a tricky one, because what is spicy and sweet for one is spicy and dry for another one is, but here I think the sweet, fruity and mellow hits the nail right on the head. I mean, sort of, it really has a lot of sweetness, a lot of fruitiness, and the mellowness comes in when you're adding a drop of water.
So I'm kind of Überrascht. Surprise. I'm kind of surprised because add water, more bananas, I'm reading. But
Yeah.
I'm combining with this distillery something like bee wax. Bee wax is a typical thing for the 26th on the distillery, but this one is more fruity. This is a surprise at this, and it's almost it's only 7 years old, not the 15 or 20-year-old thing. And you have such a great level of fruit. This is very awesome for this young stuff.
Yeah. I think I saw
Arno is getting bubblegum superb with spot of water. Okay, yeah, right.
Yeah. No. So,
and it's getting more and more smooth because
yes,
adding water is very bringing it up to another level. It's very cool on this thing.
Yeah, and I think it can take water quite well. I mean, I sort of tried it before. Someone has to do it, so I've been trying it with a bit of more water, and what I would call it's a good swimmer. So it doesn't drown easily. So you can actually add water. But I was also, obviously being a German, I've got my German beer. But for our Australian friends, I found a wonderful beer, Little Creatures. It's called Pale Ale, a superb beer, which me as a German have to say an Australian beer is good, but it is good. And again, I thought it was going very, very well with that one. As you can see, the party is in full flow.
The party is very flowing up.
I've got 2 beers already.
2 beers and 1 whiskey. Also a good title for a movie. Something like 2 German people are talking English.
There we go, Peter. If you like it, that's the problem when you added water and you say I liked it better without water. You can't take it out anymore. So what you have to do is you have to buy a bottle at the end and just and then you can practice and do it as long as you can. So here we are. That's the Little Creature, and it's an Australian beer. It's a great beer. It's called Pale Ale. It's quite crisp. It's quite gentle citrus, chewy maltiness as well, and quite a hoppy finish. So for me, as a German, it's more like a Pilsner type. You've got that hoppy, slightly bitterness to it. So I'll give that a go.
Oh, beautiful glass, Olaf.
Yeah, thank you.
Because I didn't know that there are also such glasses of the society.
Oh yes. So goes, dare I say, probably even slightly better than the wheat beer, but both are perfect and both are very, very typical sort of summer drinks for me. Now I've got an interesting thing on both of them because I've looked through, people having opinions. Where did you get the Little Creatures in Edinburgh? Well, unfortunately, I didn't get it in Edinburgh. I got it by this big company where you get almost everything these days. And it's sort of a big river in South America. I mean, sort of close. So,
okay.
So there's two comments. There's 2 comments about these 2 beers on the internet, and it's wonderful. Because the wheat beer, Erdinger, someone's written, it was my first wheat beer I've ever had, and I've never looked back. How could I go back to the same old Aussie blue tins after tasting this sensation? Such a nice, refreshing beer to have on a hot summer's day. Couldn't agree more. And then you've got the Little Creatures one, and that's a tasty note, almost one from the Scotchmore Whisky Society. Thank you, Nick. I will buy it there next time. It's summer, but not in the UK because it's not raining. And I can tell you, looking out here, it is raining in Edinburgh right now. You're sitting on the harbour. You're sitting on the harbour in Fremantle, Western Australia. There are a couple of dolphins dancing across the water, and the sun is just starting to touch the Indian Ocean as it casts its golden red sunset across the horizon. In your hand is an ice-cold Little Creatures, the bottle wet with condensation, the beer refreshing as the troubles of the fizzle away. Hold on, what's that? I sat on a sofa. It's raining outside. It's 4 p.m. and it's dark. But that bottle of Little Creatures takes you to another world. And there we are. That's, as I say, that could be a society one.
Please, Olaf, please go on with that reading. So I'm just leaning back and enjoying this.
Right. Well, I'll make you work in a second. But
Yeah.
while we're at the beer, I'll just give you one statistic, which you might like as well, Marcel.
Hmm?
I love statistics because you can prove anything. Lies, damn lies, and statistics.
Of course.
An average German walks a year 1,440 kilometers. Average German 1,440 kilometers.
Okay.
And an average German drinks around 110 liters of beer a year. 110 liters. So the average German runs on 7.5 liters beer per 100 kilometers. Or for you UK guys, it's about 37 miles to the gallon. A German does in walking. So
Useful facts on the evening.
that's it. That's it. But I think
I'm very unhappy that it is raining in Edinburgh because in Germany or especially in Hanover we have a blue sky and the sun is shining. What a pity! So please come on over to taste the beautiful weather here.
Yeah. No, but well, I always have to say, rain today is whiskey tomorrow. So therefore, I mean, we shouldn't really complain. Right. No, but that's about tasting notes as well, because, don't read them before you try the whiskey, because when you read them, you're already focusing on something. Try it yourself, make yourself notes mentally or write them down, see what we're getting in the society, because as I say, I've been a panel member for 20 years. I'm also one of the chairpersons of the panel for the last 10 years or so. So I'm actually responsible for writing those tasting notes with my fellow colleagues. But they're not right. Hopefully they're not wrong either, but they are an opinion at the end of the day. And we'll try to be as honest as we can and as clear as it is. Yeah, that's probably, you're right, Martin. I think it's probably a little bit more or less probably than the gallons. And Sigmund Freud, the Austrian neurologist, not Austrian, he once said, there is no 100% of the truth, as there doesn't exist 100% of alcohol. And that's very true. So you're not wrong, you're not right, or whatever. Everyone's going to be different and enjoying it. And don't get overboard with information. Information is fine, but at the end of the day, you try the whiskey. When you like it, it's a good whiskey for you. When you don't like it, it's a bad whiskey for you. But just for you, because it might be a bad whiskey for me. It might be a good whiskey for Marcel. So it's all personal at the end of the day.
Yeah, I can also notice that on my tastings, because every one of my guests is sitting there and staring on the tasting notes when they are trying the whiskeys. But it's the same. I am telling them when I do the tastings, please don't focus on the tasting notes while you are in the tasting. Take them by power and comparing. Yes, but at first, really concentrate on your own thoughts. These are the most important ones.
Hello to USA. What the?
Michelle Schmidt. Prost from Mainz. Okay. I found peach at the end, but maybe we go on.
Yeah. Move on to number 2 and 3. As I say, we'll do those as a pair.
Yeah.
So don't confuse them.
I just have to to manage things here. There are some right beside the notes. There are some cool cards in the tasting kit. They're coming as a very cool gimmick, I think. But don't forget, these are the tasting notes. So look at them later and just open the bottle.
That's it. So here we are. Two whiskeys, 55.62 and 46.71. Both are classified as Speyside, whereby I actually think the 55.62 is a Highland, but that's beside the point. It's always a question, where do you finish with Speyside? Where do you start with the Highlands? What is the Highlands? But these are both Speyside whiskies. The first one, 13 years old. The second one, 25 years, so almost double the age. Both are spicy and sweet. Both
I missed my moment.
Yes. Both spicy and sweet, both a similar color, but that's really where the similarities end with those two. So we'll start with the 55.62, which is the Oddfellows in the Wardrobe, Recharred Hoggy. So Recharred Hoggy means it's been used before, it's then been shaved out and newly toasted and charred. So in a way, it's not quite right, but it's sort of like a second fill. So it's not like a first fill, but you get the sort of second fill. So here we are, a lovely golden color.
So all of you at the third one, yes?
At the second one.
The second. So the 46.
5562. 5562.
No, this is I think this is the third.
Nope.
So in the tasting kit, it was the third, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's different on the notes. Yes. Sorry for that.
That's okay.
So we are organizing on the sheet. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So on everyone, it's the third whiskey in the pack, but it's the second whiskey in our lineup.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. And you've got your tasting your tasting mat as well. That's the first and second and then third. So the 55 is the one right in the middle. Yep. On the
55 point.
So it's one which is actually very near Inverness. So probably the closest to Inverness actually. It's one which still has a Royal in it, which is not many. There's only 2 active ones having Royal. This Royal came from 1835 with King William IV. Gave that the Royal prefix. So let's give it a nose.
Yeah, but also comparing in color, you can see the rechowing effect.
Yeah,
it's slightly, but it's something like very lightly in gold, and this one with more brown in it. Yeah,
obviously you got sunshine, Marcel. I've got rain here, so therefore you can see.
I can see it better. Okay, let's do it with those. Ooh. Yeah. Odd fellows in the wardrobe. Okay.
You see, that's where the difficulty starts, because tasting notes are always things which obviously you remember and you know. Now, Odd Fellows doesn't mean anything to you because you don't know that Odd Fellows are a sweet which are known, which you can buy in the UK. So that's where the problem always lies, where some people write different tasting notes because it's just a different experience. Like you can also bet, because it says Black Forest Gatto on there, you can bet that it's not from me, because I usually never get Black Forest Gatto because I come from Stuttgart. That's my hometown. So right in front
okay.
my parents, my dad worked in the baking industry, so I know what a Black Forest Gatto should be tasting like. And it's nothing what the British think a Black Forest Gatto should be tasting like. So it's that sort of so you can always bet on it. If it says Black Forest Gatto, it wasn't me in the panel or me writing the notes. So therefore, it's the problem of remembering and knowing the things you really want to describe here. So Odd Fellows is a sweet which, as I say, you can hardly get. It's a retro sweet. I always take the Spangles. That's even worse, because that's what a lot of tasting panel colleagues say to me, and that's, I think, when has it been out of business? 84 it went out of business, so 84 discontinued, and you can't get them anymore, those Spangles. So I will never know.
They are also a highly entertaining diversion written towards the end of the evening. Yeah. Yeah, Rex. Sometimes I also have the feeling, but Olaf, you have the observation of it in lifetime.
Oh, you see, that's why usually the peaty whiskies have the best tasting notes, because they come over at the end of a panel. So therefore, the poetic license and everything is much, much better with the peaty notes.
So these tasting notes are very spiritly, yes?
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, what are you smelling? I'm smelling something like cake aromas. Okay, maybe not the Black Forest Gatto, but something like or duff, something like duff when you're baking a cake. What about the people outside? What are your tasting notes? What are you smelling? Please set it in the comments. The best one gets a prize, I think.
It's got sort of an old-fashioned. Oh my, this is amazing. Yeah. A fair bit of an
cool that you're so cool that you are hitting my favorite cocktail. But I'm in love.
What's your sock drawer like? That's good.
But I'm in love with some special kind of old-fashioned. I like old-fashioned with salted caramel ingredients. So something like a syrup or a liquor that you are giving into it. And there's a good bar in Hanover, the Oscars bar. It's also partner bar in of the society in Hanover. Greetings to Thomas Fisher whenever he's looking this. And there's a good barkeeper. There was a good barkeeper. Scotty is his name. And Scotty did a very great job on mixing, on mixology, and on everything about combining whiskeys, also single malt whiskeys and Scotch whiskeys, and also the society whiskeys in good cocktails. And it was godlike. He has no common knowledge of the distilleries, but is also also trusting in his senses of smelling and tasting and combining the society whiskeys in such a unique way in good old cocktails like the old fashioned. And this was the birth point of the salted caramel old fashioned. I'm in love with that.
Milk chocolate digestives, yeah. I mean, you see here we've got custard Danish, bounty bars, dolly mixtures.
Yeah.
I've taken a little sip. So if you want a sawdust on the nose, I'm definitely getting that. I'm definitely getting that.
Oscars the next time. Look at this. I'll be visiting Oscars the next time I'm across to watch Hanover's 96. Yeah.
Right. So let's try it.
Let's try it. Cheers.
Mm-hmm.
So we are wandering down. We are wandering down from 62 on 56. So it's of course it's sweet. Of course it's soft.
It's quite a harshness to it for me as well on the palate. It's quite a sort of a tannic note, wood spice, wood char.
Yeah, wood, but it's kind of forest. It's kind of in German you would say Laub. What is it?
Yeah, it's leaves.
Autumn leaves. Yeah.
Leaves. Yep. No, it's quite a. I mean, that's why we sort of suggested as well, like grilled aubergines, Turkish delight. I think that would go quite well with that one. But what we'll do now is we'll leave that one alone. Actually, we're not adding water to it. We'll move on to the third one, i.e. the 46.71, and having a look at that one before we go back to that. You know, it's hard work here with us. Well, you have to be on your So, look at the color of that one. 23 years old, a refill ex-bourbon hogshead.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the color, it must be a refill. It must be used more than twice, 3 times. And that's when people like myself, like Marcel, telling you, oh, well, the whiskey always is 60-70% is cask and 30% is spirit. That's an average. Here, certainly the spirit is a lot more important than the cask. But the wonderful thing about that is casks have 3 components to it in maturation. They're adding something. That's the sweetness, the vanilla, for example, or the spices in sherry casks. They're also taking things out like sulfur, because that's basically in every whiskey. So that's getting cleared out. But then there is the interaction, and that's through time. And you can only get that through time. And that's the fascination. That's the most difficult thing to analyze, to actually find out how that works. So it's that interaction between the wood and the spirit. And that's what we got here. And
this was also an interesting fact that I had on my last tasting in the Oscars bar. I did a vertical gin tasting about the 5 or the 4 different gins of the second distillery in the society, and this was also an important topic on the additives, the subtractive, and the interactive maturation. Yeah, very important point on cask management. Yes.
When I nose this, it's mellow. Yes, that's true. That's when I joined in 1992. Actually, I was just about to come to that.
Good observation.
That's history in a glass, in a way, because this one was distilled on the 16th of November, 1992. 16th of November. So whenever I've got those whiskies in my hands, it's just something. It's history in a glass. It's thinking back, what have I done? Actually, I was just 6 months a member of the society because I joined in May 1992 in those days. And also it's 2 days after my birthday. I'm born on the 14th of November, so that's 2 days later than my birthday. So it's just something you sort of lean back, and there's a lovely saying in the Caribbean: taking your time is not being lazy. And you should never rush with whiskey. You should always take your time. But with these whiskeys, you really should take extra time. And it's sort of leaning back. There is a lovely saying on Islay as well, that when God created time, he created plenty of it. So you don't have to rush.
I have to read out a good comment on Facebook. Alice said it's smelling like jelly beans, the red ones. Yes. And of course,
Yes.
I like to smell this whiskey because jelly sweets, it's like having jelly babies on the nose or something like Scott said. Yeah, it's like having the nail on the head. It's very jellyful. Of course, there's a much of jelly in it, and yeah,
I like lots going on. Yeah, there's lots going on. You just have to give it a bit more time. It's more timid. It's more shy. It's not coming out straight away. It's just like, I always compare it to humans as well. You know, there are people you see immediately and you think, oh, they're great, they're good fun or something. And some people say, well, not so sure or something. But then when you get to know them more, then all of a sudden they become your best friends. And that's one of those. You just need some time with it. You just need to rest. And I can go always back and forwards to it, and I always get something different. And it's from a distillery, which no one knows. That's the beauty about the society as well, because that distillery produces just whiskey well, not just whiskey, but for blends. And we should never forget that out of the 1.4 billion bottles which are being sold all around the world, 90% are blended whiskies. So what you've got here in your glass, that usually would go into Johnny Walker or into Haig whiskey. Haig is quite a big one in Dominosteine. Yes, I remember that. I know that. Haig had once a big advertising campaign. Don't be vague, ask for Haig in America. So that's where that would end up. And what a shame. I'd rather have it in my glass here with the society.
I'm just comparing because it's very, very exciting to switching noses on the two glasses, because the first one gets more gingered, more peppery, and more like spices, and the last one, this jelly fact, it also fits to the distillery because it's very famous for that. Especially the old ones, and this is 25 years old, so it's very the best of it.
So I think I've nosed enough. I'll give it a try. I'm sure you guys out there have long tried it.
What's the price on which, Brenton?
What's the price on it? That one is 121.20. 121.20.
Yeah. So the other one's 61.
Yeah.
The second one. Yeah.
No, it's just wonderful. And what I'm getting is that's the beauty about sort of when you think about it. I mean, there was a lot of sort of a bit of ginger, a bit of nutmeg, a bit of lavender. But what for me the real kicker was, and the real selling point for me was on that one, the real one was picking strawberries. That's the website, by the way, for all you guys who have the pack. You can go in and buy those bottles over that smws.com/contrast. But it's picking strawberries because I used to go with my dad picking strawberries in Germany, and you can eat as many as you want while you were picking. I don't know if that's still possible these days, but it was in my days when I was young, which was only 10 years ago. I wish. No, so it's and they always then weigh it at the end. If they ever weighed me, sort of, I think we had to pay a lot more because I'm just eating them rather than actually putting them into the basket. But that's what it reminds me of, and that's why I chose as well here. For me, a wonderful summer thing, strawberry and creams with Marcel. That's called stealing these days. No, it was official. It was official.
So it's called stealing these days? What is that?
My strawberries, which I was eating, was called stealing. But no, you could eat as many as you want while you were picking in those days. Yeah, those. Yep.
Okay.
So strawberry and cream for me, a perfect match for that. I mean, sort of sitting outside, not on a day like today, but maybe on a day like today in Hanover, sitting outside.
reading about. Do you agree the 1 minute per year to brewery rule? I like this rule, but I'm noticing the whole way, because when you have the rule 1 year in the cask, 1 minute in the glass, so it's like 25 years on the 46 whiskey. You should do that, but don't put the glass on the table and leave it, and after 25 minutes come back and take a smell. Please go the whole journey, please. It's an absolute crazy thing about Scotch whiskey to have the full journey in this 25 minutes.
Now, also, what I would suggest is there are never really when people say I always do this, I always do that, I always do that.
Yes.
I say always is always wrong.
Yes.
Because some whiskey can wonderful develop. Let's take this one. Is it going to be better in 26 minutes? Well, the only way is to find out. Let it stand there. But what it will do, it will change. It will definitely change, which we're going to find out when we go back to the number 2. That's why I thought we'll do 2, 3, and then back to 2. It will change. But is it going to be better or is it going to be worse? Well, it's different at the end of the day. So therefore, yes, I mean, by all means, I mean, I'm a geek in whiskey. So sometimes I'll do it. I'll just pour myself one glass and just let it stand there, and the other one I'll drink. And therefore, this one stands for a longer time. And then I'll go to this one after I had that one and just see how it changes. And it can just fall off a cliff and you think, oh my God, how bad. Or it can really open up wonderfully. This is the same thing with water. For example, here, I probably wouldn't add any water with this one, with the number 3. And if I would add water, I probably actually would use this heated pipette because it's just easier to just put a drop in. But actually, I would just drink that just as it is. It's 52.9%. Again, the alcohol level is not key. It doesn't mean if it's 60%, you need lots of water. If it's 45%, you need less water. It just depends on the maturation. It depends on the whiskey. And it also depends when you drink it, how you drink it, in what company or on your own in the evening. So it's all different. And you are different every single day as well. So therefore, that's the beauty about it. There is no hard and fast rule. So you do whatever you think is best for you.
Can absolutely agree with that. There are no words, they are just opinions. Yeah.
So a bit of earthiness, as I say, that strawberry picking, cigars, coffee beans, a little bit of dryness as well to it, sort of, which I quite like. I do like, just between us, sort of, because there's not many people out there, I think, spicy and dry flavor profile is the one which most people not going for. It's my favorite flavor profile, spicy and dry. Instead of
with a step back on the second one, I found milk chocolate. Very melting milk chocolate on this way. But let's keep on to the playing with water.
Yeah, no, as I say, I leave that one without water at the moment because I quite liked it. But I love to go to the second one now, to the 55, because that definitely needs water for me personally. So what I'll do is I'll take my little jar again, add a few drops.
Raindrops are falling on my head. Sorry.
Now you see, you mentioned, Marcel, you meant autumn leaves. Haven't you mentioned that for that one?
Yeah, I meant autumn leaves.
Because I'm getting this now. I'm getting that sort of, walking in an autumn forest, sort of, and a little bit late summer, bit of sun, maybe mushrooms as well, truffle hunting.
Mm. But there's a sweetiness which is coming up, something like a leather polish or something like that.
Yeah.
I know something like a polish which I'm using on my guitars, because they are also smelling like the sweetiness, and this is reminding me, because please do me also the favor, as go on your associations as much as you can, your imagination on things, on thoughts, on remembering, on everything. Try everything. Thinking about guitars, thinking about materials, about areas. Everything is right, and this is so beautiful about whiskey, because whiskey is taking you on every on everything, on focus on things, focus on vacation, focus on whatever you want.
You see, I enjoy that now a lot more with water for me. 46 goes well with a Snickers bar. Yes. Yeah, I would probably rather have Milky Way or something sort of. But yeah, I
guessing about the white bar. Yes.
55 to the 46 feels like it's already watered down. Yeah, again, that's the age as well in a way. I mean, sort of. But as I said, I really like the 55 now with water.
Truffles, yes, this is the one. Nice. Truffles. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Truffles is very white. Beautiful.
You see,
beautiful.
Yeah, I said already what we think we should have it with, but I love mixing marathon bar. Yes, yeah. I love mixing grain and grape. I do love mixing grain and grape, and not like Queen Victoria did, because she used to mix claret with whiskey when she was up at Balmoral, which she ruined 2 drinks in one go in a way for me. But well, whatever the Queen does. But we have a saying in Germany, quite interesting: Wein auf Bier, das rat ich dir. Bier auf Wein, lass das sein. And I tried to find an English translation for that. And funnily enough, I found an English translation which says exactly the opposite.
What?
Which says, wine after beer feels queer. Beer after wine feels fine. So that's exactly the opposite to what the German saying says. So there you go. That doesn't agree. Actually, I found another one while I was there, which is quite funny. Liquor before beer, you're in the clear. Beer before liquor, you will never be sicker. So I thought, I'll just mention that to you guys. No,
beer after wine. Beer after wine. Who is doing this?
So I could quite happily have a dry Riesling or a Champagne with that one as well, for example. You know, there's a bit of yeastiness to it with that 55, that sort of bit of dryness. I would be very happy to have a Mosel dry Riesling or a Champagne bubbly with that.
Mm-hmm. Is Andy watching us in video? So Andy, are you there?
Don't you not get the best? Yes, you do that. Probably going to be sick with all the chocolates by the end of it, but but have a go.
Beer before wine, everything's fine.
Yeah, that's what. Yes, exactly. I don't know. Obviously, I looked at the wrong place.
It's also about after or before.
But at the end, it's all about quantity, of course. So
I'm here, Andy. I'm here. Yeah. So when there is time for a sidekick, I don't know because I don't know if there's anybody or somebody who's asking the question about what's the difference between toasting and chowing. It's something like very, very hard discussed thing in treating the whiskey and treating the casks. So I was also asked, what is chowing, what is toasting, and something like that. I'm reading Beste Grüße aus Hamburgs Landje. Grüße zurück an Clemens Kircher. So yeah, Andy, good question. Do you want to enter? So this is a geeky one.
No, it's just the way how you do the heat treatment when you do the cask. Yeah. Basically, toasting is a very light treatment. It's just like toasting a toast. Sort of, you want to have it brown, but you don't want to have it black. But by charring, you really are heating it like with a Bunsen burner or something, and therefore you really are opening up the pores at the end of the day. So most American ex-bourbon casks would be heavily charred, whereby most sherry casks from Spain coming over would be toasted oak. But we've had someone from Mainz. They had someone from Mainz.
This is Andy checked.
There's someone from Mainz here. Because actually, when I'm talking about champagne, I've got Monsieur Krug, or whatever you want to say, because actually his name was Johannes Josef Krug, and he came from Mainz and went to the Champagne to make his famous Krug champagne. And he was asked once, why, Monsieur Krug, are you only making cuvées? You don't make vintage champagnes, or very, very rarely vintage champagnes. You always make cuvées. And he said, you know, why I make cuvées? Because in a vintage, God is in charge. because it depends on the year, depends on the weather, depends on the rain, on the sunshine. And in a cuvée, I am God. Because in a cuvée, he can mix it the way he wants to mix it. Now, I'm not God. I always call myself, I'm not even an expert, I say. I am an enthusiastic amateur. That's what I call myself, because I actually, amateur, amare is Latin for love. I love what I'm doing. And that's really what it is. You don't have to be an expert. People always say to me, Olaf, which is the best one? You should know. No, you know, because you drank them, and you can tell me which one is the best one. So,
one for the geeks, toasting just break down the lignin to create flavor compounds. Oh, charring creates charcoal layer, which helps remove sulfur compounds and other immature aromas. But you get a toasted layer beneath the char. Andy, thank God that you are here.
At 10 to 9 in the evening after 3 whiskeys and 2 beers.
Also a good title for a movie, after 2 whiskeys and 3 beers. So let's switch on to the peaty part of the tasting.
Let's go to the second pair, which is really, really exciting.
The first one I want to add is, please don't forget the water between the whiskeys.
Yeah,
this could save lives.
Well, I drink beer, which doesn't save life.
Hey, Olaf, it's also water. It's much more water than you think.
That's it. That's it. So,
The White Hand of Darkness. I love this title. I really love this title.
Fortunately, it's not my title. I always hate when people do good titles and I didn't write them. So it wasn't mine.
Sorry.
But we've got 2 lightly peated ones, and as I say, very different. The first one comes from the 93rd distillery, 93, and when people saw maybe the Campbelltown Festival, we had this one here, the 93-129, for the festival. That was a 10-year-old first fill barrel, sold out within minutes because being the festival. But now we've got here the 93-134, again a first fill ex-bourbon barrel, 8 years old and 59.9%.
Open up. I like the Campbelltown area.
Yeah, that's my weak spot. I love the.
Let's take a look on the color.
And we'll just do them one by one. So we'll do that one first, and then do the 5th one separately as well, because they're so different.
Sherry cask are only ever toasted, so no char layer, so less effective at removing sulfur, which is why sherry matured whiskies can be more sulfury meaty. Nice to know. Excuse my typos. I didn't read anything, Andy. I thought this was correct.
Thanks, Michelle. So I do love the really peaty ones, sort of the I'm with Olaf, beer instead of water. Billy, yes. Billy, we're the same language.
Billy, I also had much of beer in the West.
Yeah, 93, one of my favorite distilleries. Yes, it's one. I love these underdogs because obviously there is one distillery in Campbelltown which everybody knows, but this one's finding its way, and rightly so. And we've had cracking 93s in the last 2 years, and there are wonderful ones coming in the future as well. And that is one of those, because I love my Islas. Don't get me wrong, I love the peaty, the smack in your face, licking an ashtray or something, whatever you want to describe it. But sometimes it's that lightly peated, a bit more sweety notes to it, like the 66, for example, as well, the distillery 66. Obviously 93 can be anything. Like we've had now, this was spicy and dry, the festival one, spicy and sweet, the festival one. Then we had an oily and coastal. Now we have a lightly peated. So the variety here is quite phenomenal. And as soon as I put my nose into there, I'm getting that minty, fresh, slightly smoky, sweet smoke. Sort of. I'm on my Riesling trip as well, because I was talking Mosel Riesling. I get sort of a little bit petrolic aromas, like you get in aged Rieslings and old Rieslings. That petrolic note, which I really like. Some people don't like it at all.
I have something like molasses and tobacco.
Right?
Also,
Yeah.
yeah. Smoked mackerel coming through the nose.
Smoked mackerels coming through the nose, right? Oh, well.
So I'm the definitely reincarnation of the title. I'm the darkness. So it's getting dark in Germany. Who writes these descriptions? Surf washed rocks in an oil spill. What a way to earn money.
Yes, I'm earning my way that way. It's the panel, and you basically got 4 chair people of the panel, and the chairperson is always one present in every panel. And then if we decide to bottle it, this person, i.e. me or one of my 3 colleagues, will write the tasting notes. And it's a hard job, I can tell you, but someone's got to do it. I never get sympathy.
Tasting notes are the good. Help me, Olaf. What's the English word for Beweis?
Proof.
Thank you.
Proof
is a good proof for whiskey has no barriers, has no walls of imagination. So please, the first word or the biggest topic about everything in whiskey is everything is right. There is no wrong. There is everything right. When there's someone who wants to use ice on his whiskey, please do so. We can tell you what what the treatment with ice on whiskey is, but it's not forbidden. Please throw everyone out who wants to forbid something. There are no words. There is no. This is forbidden. You can't do this. Please feel so free and decide on your own how you want to taste your whiskey, to drink your whiskey, to feel and to enjoy your whiskey.
I agree with you, Amy. Certainly that wood campfire, that sweetness as well. Let's think the dark side
I can
of
feel the darkness rising inside me as I drink. This is a good one, Chris. Molasses and antique bookshops. If you have the feeling and the nosing of very old books, when you're opening an old book, this is it.
Yeah. And again, I was just saying, adding a drop of water helps it opening up, because that's what I'm thinking as well, because I've done that. And when you add a drop of water.
So we're adding it.
I can just see myself on Campbelltown Loch, moving up to the distillery at Glen Scotia, the seashore, sea breeze, the harbour as well.
Olaf, let's do a featuring. I'm telling a German joke and you translate it into English.
Bloody hell!
A German one. Woran erkennt man einen Deutschen in einer Whiskybrennerei? An dem Notizbuch in der Hand und der Pipette im Revers.
Exactly. How do you know a German is visiting a distillery in Scotland? He has his notebook in his hand and he has a pipette in his pocket. And probably, those things as well, which I hate, is these things around where you have your glass in. I don't know what it's called. You hold your glass in it. And it hangs
the glass holder, something like that. Yeah. On every fair, on every German whiskey fair. Oh, I have a glass holder of Lagavulin or something like of Lafroig or something like that. But they are distributing it in the distilleries, so it's not a German invention. You are Alex. You are writing Walfisch, not with an H, but it's not that critical. Sagt der Thunfisch zum Walfisch? No. Andrew, please switch back on the German joke. Yes, thanks. Sagt der Thunfisch zum Walfisch. Was willst du tun, Fisch? Du hast die Walfisch. Now I'm noticing. Yes, thank you. It's absolutely right written.
Marcel, now I know why you have these things. Because obviously in the one hand you need your notebook and the other one the pipette.
Yeah.
God. Right, while we end that, now we have just moved up a gear. Beautiful, yes. I agree. I agree, David.
Please, let's focus on the whiskey. Very beautiful 93 one. Very beautiful.
We said the ceviche, for example, from Peru, some raw fish as well would go very, very well with that whiskey here. But also we said some prawns on a barbecue as well, and that's for our Australian friends now, because the term there is, according to Paul Hogan, I'll slip an extra shrimp on the barbie for you, an extra shrimp, because they don't use shrimp really. So we're talking. Hello.
Yeah.
So we're talking summer. We're talking summer solstice in the northern hemisphere. We're obviously talking in Australia the winter solstice, so i.e. the shortest day and the longest day. But what I'm getting, mackerels were mentioned. I'm getting the smell of grilled sardines with that one on the nose when I'm adding water, and I get a lovely sweet aroma of basil. And that brings me, pure coincidence, exactly today, a year ago, I was in Lisbon, and they had on that day, 12th, 13th, and 14th, they have the celebration of their patron saint, St. Anthony. And it's the 12th of June, which is the big day. So it's literally, well, it would be today because of COVID. It's obviously not happening. Yeah. But it's the biggest street party there. And they're celebrating him, but they're also celebrating, he's not just a patron saint, but he's also responsible or said for love, for matchmaking, for marriages as well.
And so don't wonder. I have got to wondering a little bit because it's get darker and darker, and therefore I have to switch on a lighter place.
Yeah, I'll just tell a story.
Yeah, just tell a story. Oh, this is good.
So summer solstice, about marrying, renewing the vows. We heard that from the Orkneys as well, from a lady there, and the thing about that is it's fascinating because, as I say, it is called the San Antonio Festival or the Sardine Festival. And the beautiful thing is, it's the sardines, but there's also a basil with a tiny leaves and strong, lovely, sweet smelling. And what you do is you hand that to your loved ones on that day in the hope that she's going to marry you eventually. I mean, sort of, and she's looking after that to nurture the relationship. There's also on that day a mass wedding celebration in the St. Antonio Church in Lisbon. It's a tradition which goes back many, many years, originating to give cash-strapped couples a chance to get married, because the lucky couples receive everything free of charge. They get the wedding dress, they get the ring, the honeymoon, and it's an annual competition, and it's a huge wedding going on there. And the only thing someone's writing who's been there, as I say, I've been there literally last year, said the only thing she's missing was the giant sardine and the basil hats which you get at the celebration. Now you can see the sardine hat over my head here. That's the sardine. If you ever wondered what is over my head here, that is a sardine. And just to make it clear, that's the basil. Basil here. So there you go. On the 12th of June, you're running around in Lisbon, having lots of beer, lots of port wine, lots of sardines, and celebrating almost summer solstice.
So,
looking at winter solstice, which obviously is in Australia, I've had the very good luck of being in Orkney between the 12th and 16th of December in 2007. And I went to Maze How, which is absolutely stunning. It's one of Europe's finest chambered tombs, 5,000 years ago. It's been built 5,000 years ago. And the entrance passage, you have to call into the entrance passage to be in the tomb. That is aligned with the setting of the midwinter sun on the 21st of December. So I was there on the 15th, so very close. It was a cloudless sky. And you can see, and you can look at it on the internet, you can see how the sun creeps in along that passage and then alights the whole room. It's absolutely magic. And I just, that's sort of, sometimes when I have a whiskey, you're sort of sniffing it and then you're drinking it and it's just magic. It is magic. So so if you ever want to have a good party, go to Lisbon on the 12th of June and winter Solstice in Oakley. I've had too many beers, Martin.
No, Martin, this is just Olaf.
That's just me. If you don't know me now, you will know. Lots of sangria as well. Yeah, lots of sangrias again.
I read lots love of Sagres. Sagres, very, very cool place in Portugal.
Yeah. Right. Well, I should have probably told you. I should have warned you, because we used to have a visitors book in the vaults. That's now gone. That's long gone now, because that's gone when we stopped giving free coffee. That's another story. It's a long story. We're not going to go there.
We don't. Something like
no,
there's a German comedian. I don't know if you know him, Olaf Stefan Raab. We don't have any time.
Yeah. Oh, we have all the time in the world. No, I won't go there. But actually, Prince Charles signed it on the 7th of June, 1990. That's when he was at the. So I hope there was plenty of 29, distillery 29 behind the bar for Prince Charles. But one guy wrote into this book, "You look lovely with a head of hair." Yes, thanks.
So
Olaf will talk, and he wrote that in. Be warned, he said. Olaf will talk your ears off, but listen well, because every word he says is worth remembering. It wasn't me saying it; someone else writing into that book. So,
Olaf, what is your favorite color?
What is my favorite color?
Yeah.
Good question. I don't know really. I don't have probably blue, I think.
Blue. Okay, let's switch into blue.
Far too high tech for me.
No.
I think I'll put my German hat back on now and be more serious, and we'll go on to number 5.
Yeah, please.
Because did you have a dram and mace hat? No, I haven't, unfortunately, Wendy. I wasn't that well prepared at that time. It's West meets East, East meets West. Wonderful. Charlie, hello. I missed the tasting. Oh gosh.
So I'm emptying up the 4th one. So
yeah. So East meets West.
So
138.3.
Germans can't handle their whiskey. Matthew.
Why are you implying? Well, just having fun.
Everything wants famous. Everything wants.
That's it.
Cool. Trick or treat.
Trick or treat, yes. And again, I think the best tasting note of the evening. But as I say, don't read it. It's not mine either. So we're going to Taiwan with that one. The 6th biggest Scotch export market in the world. The 6th biggest. They usually like some sherried whiskies, sweeter ones, the Macallans, Singleton, Glenord. Kavalan is a very well-known Taiwanese distillery, but we're not at Kavalan with that one. We are in a distillery which started in 1977, did first brandy and rum, and in 2008 it started with whiskey. And obviously we are in a tropical climate, so a lot hotter, wetter conditions, and therefore the angel share is a lot more. And it's a lot more high-speed maturation as well, with tropical fruits, characters, which are very, very typical. Again, someone who's much smarter than me once said age of a whiskey is a statement of time. Maturity is happening during that period of time. So it's about maturity. It's not about age. It's not the older the better or what have you. And this one here, if you knows it, the tasting note says we're in for a treat. And yes, we are. I like that one. Just bring it back, Andrew.
Yeah.
Old
library. Yeah.
Library, and then the library burns down. Amy.
This is the best example of whiskey is telling you a story.
Yeah, I like that.
But yes, it's right. They're similar into the old book style. Old paper, something like papyrus.
Beautiful.
First Taiwan whiskey, Billy. Cheers.
Yeah. Well, Billy, I can tell you, my first Japanese whiskey was back in 2001 in the panel, and when we bottled it, people were leaving the society because they said you can't bottle Japanese whiskey in the Scotchmore Whiskey Society. I'm so glad that times have changed. I mean, so we can sit here now and enjoy a Taiwanese whiskey, and because
So my first Taiwanese was another one. It's not this distillery; it's another one. So there are not there are not many distilleries in Taiwan, I think. So it's very easy.
There are only two, as far as I know, but I don't know.
But the first, I've got now a new a new impression. It's peanut butter.
Yeah.
Concentrate on peanut butter.
Greville Street, Tristan. I remember Greville Street because I lived in London from 94 till 2000 and 94 till 2001, 7 years. And they just opened Greville Street. Greville Street for me, I always say, is an oasis of peace in the madness of London, the members' room. So I would love to share a dram with you at Greville Street. Yeah, first moment is sweet, and then it really shows fire. Yep, it does. Yep, Taiwan. Yep, yep.
Wow.
That's the best tasting notes, wow.
Wow. Famous.
That's all you need.
On the nose, and baby back whips. Yeah.
I get that.
I'm just have a quick look on the tasting notes, and there said heavily barbecued croutons. Croutons, okay. There are some German croutons of a company which is called Knorr. You know this, Olaf, and this is a big remind on croutons in a salad which I ate some years before.
Yeah. No, I mean that's why I came up with. I didn't believe it exists, but it does exist. Bacon ice cream.
Oh.
So that to me sounds like a very exotic combination. That Taiwanese whiskey. I mean, you can go less adventurous and just have toasted marshmallows if you so wish, which I think also goes very well.
Please tell the story about me and this question. Yeah. Is it really true that your UK people have an ice cream sort which is called bacon and something in connection with Ben and Jerry's? This was very obvious.
Right. I did like it without water, but I'll add a drop and see what happens.
Yeah, I forget the water over there, but it doesn't matter.
That's okay. You see, when I add some water, it says here in the tasting note, it says we're in a fishing village in the East Nuke of 5. I'm actually not in the East Nuke of 5 when I smell that. I'm actually not in Asia either. I'm actually in Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean, because there is a big Asian community as well there. And I'm also a big fan of cricket. Now, can you get any worse? I mean, a German liking whiskey. By the way, I'm liking rum as well. So just in case you're not fed up listening to me today, I'm going to be back on Thursday next week, and I'm going to introduce 3 things from the current outturn list, which are stunning. One is a rum from Guyana, absolutely wonderful. The next one is our first bottling from a Northern Irish gin distillery. And then we've got a grain whiskey, which is out of this world. So next Thursday, 8 o'clock, if you want to listen to me, that's what I'm going to have it. And as I say, I love my rum, I love my cricket, and I'm sitting with this whiskey. I would love to sit in the Port of Spain, Queen's Park Oval, and watching cricket.
I've got some tea leaves on the nose.
Yeah. That was the Lapsang Souchong tea as well.
Yeah. So very cool. I can't decide if I like or not. These are the white whiskey, Simon.
Yeah. Usually, there is an advertising which says between like and not like. It's usually halfway down the bottle. Then it changes from don't like to like normally. So you have to try it again.
Or try it the next day. This is also happening.
And one thing I really would love to do, and I hope Matt Bailey and Andrew Durbridge are listening, 2 of our Australian colleagues. I was actually enjoying Trick or Treat till I added. Oh, wait. Okay, Alan. Right. Sorry.
Right, okay.
You have to buy a bottle now. You have to buy a bottle now, because then you can drink it without adding water. So I would love to. I don't have a bucket list, but I would love to go to the MCG in Melbourne for the test match, the the Boxing Day test match with 80,000 people. I know it's COVID at the moment, so it won't be 80,000, but in a few years' time, I would love to go and see the test match there at the MCG. So I'm looking forward to that. Maybe a whiskey tasting or a rum tasting as well.
Well, I like this one, exotic one.
You want to play what? Pachinko? No, I don't know what Pachinko. What is Pachinko?
Play Pachinko?
Do you know that what that is?
I don't know, but
No, Joe.
Joel, please describe Pachinko. So we reached the end. We reached.
I miss Test cricket, Joel. Yes, I miss Test cricket. Yeah.
Oh, summarize up. What a journey.
Right. So I think we're sort of coming to a close. I've done tasting overlooking the. Oh yes. Yeah, I would love to do that. So if you like one or the other bottle, I already mentioned the website smws.com/contrast. That's where you can find those bottles. These days, those bottles just fly off the shelf. So obviously here you have a bit of a chance because it's only limited people who have access to it. There is also, then after one tasting, there is the next tasting. As I already mentioned, the first one next week, but there is the next virtual member tasting, which is on the, now I've written it down and I can't find it anymore.
So before the tasting is after the tasting?
10th of July. 10th of July it is. 10th of July will be the tasting with Lee and Stephen. Going to do the tasting there, talking about 5 whiskies again, which are only available for people who have the pack. And that pack will be coming on sale next week. So keep your eyes on the screen. I think that's all we're doing at the moment, just looking at screens. I'm looking forward to looking actually in people's faces again and doing a tasting. Not that that's not proper tasting, a good tasting. Here we go.
Type of mechanical game originating in Japan. It is used as both a form of recreational arcade game and much more frequently as a gambling device, filling a Japanese gambling niche comparable to that of slot machine in Western gaming. Oh,
thanks, Ruth.
Hey. Thanks, Ruth. Thanks for the lava picture.
Every day's a school day. Every day is a school day. So
yeah, this is also my question. What was your favorite dram, Fox? Please tell us what was your favorite dram and why.
Yes. Yeah. No. Keep it coming.
So Olaf, what was your favorite?
You see, that's what people always say to me. I mean, sort of, what was your favorite dram? And I always say, well, what is my favorite child? You know, sort of. It's not really fair. It all just depends at the end of the day. I think Trick or Treat, I think that's really surprised me the most. I mean, that Taiwanese whiskey has surprised me the most. But then also, yeah, it's just a question of when and where to have it. I mean, the 25-year-old I thought was absolutely wonderful, relaxed, easygoing from that angle. But no, they're all good at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And before we
never
finish,
done a tasting before, loved it. Or thank you, David, for never done a tasting before, loved it. Thanks, guys. So this is a special form of tasting with 2 German crazy guys.
well, I just finished with the funniest joke of the Fringe in 2015. And sorry, guys, the people who know me know that joke, but it's always good to tell a good joke twice. Every year there's no Fringe this year, unfortunately. But 2015, the Fringe joke was the best joke. And you will find out soon why. I just deleted all my German friends from my mobile telephone. It is now hands-free. So with that, the German doesn't understand it, you see. Right. Now, I hope you enjoyed it. I mean, that's what it's all about, just having a good time. And I would love to see you all in flesh and blood at one point again. All the very best. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night. Marcel.
Good night from Germany.
Yeah. Good night from Edinburgh.
Thanks for watching and